Hi and welcome back to Bedecked. I am the author stylist Rebecca N. Bryan, but you can call me Beck. Today I am in my somewhat professional attire because today we are going to talk a little about side hustles. Despite the fact that I am dressed formally, this is going to be a very informal discussion on how to find your side hustle, and it's the very little bit of advice I have about side hustles and just kind of my experience forming and kind of finding my own side hustles, whether you're in corporate America or whether you're a stay-at-home mom and you're trying to build up a side hustle to either add some supplemental income or maybe build up that side hustle enough for it to become your main source of income. As you have probably figured out from the name of my channel, or if you have been around for any length of time, my current side hustle that I am pursuing is to be a stylist. Primarily for authors. As I've said on this channel before, I was thinking for many years what I wanted to do to be an asset in the author space. Offer author services, because that was a way to earn money outside of just fiction. I started out offering editing services actually for a very short period of time. I edit people's books. I edit my friends' books just for fun. I've never charged for that, but I'm like, well, since I enjoy doing that and I've been a technical editor for years, maybe that's something I want to do. So for a very short time, I had a business called I'llEditThatForYou.com because I was always telling people, you write the book, I'll edit it for you. So I'llEditItForYou.com. That was like a 2-month thing. I got frustrated with it right off the bat because I did not know how to find customers. I think I was on like Upwork or Fiverr or something like that, but I was getting no work. So this was when I was between jobs back in 2016. Luckily, shortly after that, I got my technical writing job, so I didn't have to do the fiction editing anymore if I didn't want to, which is good because I never got any paid gigs. So I was trying to think for years of ways to combine my love of fashion and writing. And I'm like, well, why don't I try being a stylist for authors and for writers? And unfortunately, I came up with this idea in 2019 and tried to pursue it in 2020 when the world shut down and nobody was doing in-person events. So like, why would I need to dress anybody? So since then, it's been really feeling my way around, seeing if this is a service that people actually want. And that's going to be one of the topics of the show today. First of all, though, we're going to talk about what if you want a side hustle, but you don't know what you want to offer. I took a workshop on how to write a nonfiction book, which gave a lot of advice for finding out what you're good at, what you're better than anybody else at, or at least a lot of people at, that you can then teach people how to do either by writing your book or holding a class or offer it as a service to pay for it. So one of the big takeaways I had from that workshop is the very first exercise in the workshop was to ask 5 people what you are good at. I will find my worksheet from that workshop and I will pop up the answers that came up with. You may find there's some commonality that makes you unique, your unique ability from everybody else. Unique ability, I use a lot, and they did this at my first job. They did this personality test, which was kind of like the Myers-Briggs, but different. It was to determine how you work. And one of the things was to determine your unique ability. So when I jokingly say when I'm like bad at something, I'm like, ooh, that's not my unique ability. I'm not gonna be able to do that. What you wanna do is hone in on what your unique ability is and then figure out how you can monetize that. Couple examples from the writing community, and I will link these people below. A couple people I know are editors, and like I said, I wanted to get into the editor space, but you gotta find your niche. And a couple people in my community are Jeff Elkins and JP Rindfleisch, and they have found something so niche, but like something people actually need and have been making lots of money doing it as editors. Jeff Elkins is the dialogue doctor. So if you need help with your dialogue, go to him. And JP is a scientist, and he uses his editing service to check your, like if you're writing science fiction, to check your facts, to say, this wouldn't actually happen this way, if that's something you're looking for, which is awesome. I considered writing science fiction for like a minute, and there's no way I would not have sent it through JP to just see if any of this was possible. Plus, they're both just really awesome, really nice guys. So finding your niche by asking other people, by, you know, looking at your own skill set, even if it's just something you think is obvious and everyone can do it, that's not necessarily true. So once you found your unique ability, then you've got to figure out how to monetize it and find an audience for it, to see if it's even viable, to see if anyone wants it. To be completely honest, I have had a few author stylist clients in my community where I gave away my services, and they have all been very happy with the results. But then a couple people, one in particular, pulled me aside and he was like, "Are you sure there's a market for this?" And I kind of still think there is, but I'm gonna have to maybe branch out a little or maybe be a little creative about it. So how do you find out if there is a market for your side hustle? Well, find communities where people would want this. I mean, like I said, I'm in an author community, and a lot of us in that community have different side hustles. So we're always, you know, bouncing ideas off each other and using each other as our first customers. You're gonna probably have to give away your services for free at first. Hopefully for not very long, but just to see if they're viable and useful and get people's feedback as to whether this is going to work. So like practice whatever your service is with someone else, get their feedback. If it went well, get their testimonial. And until you find out, you should probably not invest a lot of money in it. I mean, you could buy maybe a domain, because you can do that for pretty cheap. Secure all the social media. I tried to get the author stylist everywhere I could. When I first became a writer, I got Rebecca N. Bryan. That's why I use the N, by the way, because I couldn't get Rebecca Bryan on like Instagram or Twitter or .com, I think. So once I stuck the N in there, across the board, Rebecca N. Bryan, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, .com, you know, so stake your claim once you find your business name. As far as an LLC, I am not going to be giving you any advice on that, but there's tons of advice on the internets from business-minded people. I am one of the least, sorry, I am the least business-minded person probably you will ever meet, even though I look really great in suits. The big thing is that I've heard time and time again, the biggest piece of advice for any side hustle or anything you want to accomplish ever for anything, and I know I've mentioned this before, is be consistent. Show up consistently. Maybe if you have the funds for it, take classes to improve in your side hustle. Plus then maybe you'll connect with the teacher and they can put you in contact with other people who might need your services. So get in communities, get in classes where you can connect with other people, improve yourself, and be consistent. So what does that look like? It doesn't really matter as long as you establish what that looks like. Like for this YouTube channel, I love doing this as, I guess right now, as a hobby, but also a content generator. For me, showing up consistently is once a week. The topic of mailing list, get one set up. It's just like when you're starting an author business. So social media is great, but if you can, find a way to get them on your mailing list. I would say give yourself a realistic period of time that you're consistently doing it before you decide if it's not something you want to do anymore, or if it's not something that's going to make you money. Until, you know, as long as you financially can, or as long as you can before you go crazy and quit, or if you have the time and if it's something you love doing, just keep doing it and be okay with not making money. But if you show up consistently, if you're being professional, if you are really good at what you're doing, which I'm sure you are, and you're in the right communities and making connections, I am talking to myself as much as I am to you. Hopefully you will have the success that you are looking for. Full disclosure, this video is very hypocritical, but I have been learning from people over the years and I am passing along the knowledge I have acquired. So comment below if you think my side hustle is viable, or if you want feedback on what your side hustle is, or if you have a side hustle and want to promote it, comment that down below too. I'll promote your side hustle. Let's do that. If someone has a side hustle, comment below. Let's talk about it. Anyway, I hope you got something out of this very hypocritical video. Thank you so much for watching another rambling episode of The Decked. Tune in next week to see whatever topic or book I decide to deck out next. Bye!